Welcome back to the DC Hawks pre-match show. A busy round six for us as we played three back-to-back games all the way in Atlanta. I'm joined by Anand Patel again, who we know is the WCL president and a very familiar face in the DC Hawks camp. The dynamic all-rounder Bipul Sharma, who's represented the IPL, has played numerous years for Punjab cricket and just cricket all around. Well, I want to welcome both of you on to the pre-match show. I think we're just gonna just step right into it because we have such a packed weekend. So let's just quickly go over round 5 and then we'll start with these games because we have 3 back-to-back games. 1 game on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. So I think with this game, clearly our bowling was superb, getting them all out in 75 runs. Abdul and Nasir, coming into the attack. Nasir obviously being someone who's been consistent, in that wicket-taking department. And then with the bat, youngster Ishan coming up, and then Nasir obviously giving a good start in the beginning. But still with the batting, we've been still facing the troubles that we've discussed numerous times. But better for us, we won this game. This time around, Empire State batted first as well, and 182 on the board. So we already knew that was going to be a bit of a challenge for our batting department, which it did become because Ravi was the only one really sticking out there and no one really backed him. I think if anyone, in their top or the middle had backed Ravi, I think, we could have easily crossed the line, but it was obviously difficult for Ravi to do it alone. So again, this was there. So the main question I think I want to ask, when we come into the weekend is how are we going to improve our batting? What are some tips you guys can give to help solidify the batting that we have? Bipul, if you want to start off, especially Bipul being a part of our DC Hawks camp, knowing all the players really well.
Hi, Roshni. I think with the batting thing, it's all about experience. I think we have a quite young team. If you see Ishan, Ritesh, mostly these guys plays 40 over game around here in WCL and all the leagues. So I think it's something new for them and they are young. So they are still learning. So it's not we can't be so harsh on them.
Yeah.
We need to go day by day and game by game with them. So I think with that in mind, I think the seniors around them, they have to take responsibility more, I think. So like Ravi, Sunny, like Nasir, Neil, I think these guys they have to at some point understand. I think they need to keep the game up most of the time, and the rest of the guys like the youngsters and those who are new in 2020, they just stay around them. So I think we are in good position still.
Yeah.
DC Hawks number 3, so we don't have to rush for things like we can't put so much pressure on these guys.
Yeah.
I think they are still 6 games and we are in the middle of the tournament, so it's the right time to peak from there rather than you come. I think most of the team I saw at the half of the stage, either they peak or they come down.
Yeah.
So I think the coming weekend is gonna be crucial for us. As a team, we need to stay strong together and the senior has to take more responsibility. That's it.
Yeah. Just to correct you, we're actually at number 2. So hopefully, we just work our way up. We're at number 2 right now. So obviously we're in a great, position. And then Anand, if you want to add, because I know you were there this past weekend as well. So you kind of saw the games and got a feel for everything as well in person.
Yeah. So, as someone who was personally there at the field for both the days, there are a couple of things actually that stand out to me as far as our batting is concerned. One is definitely like what Bipul Bhai said. It's important for our seniors, whether it's Ravi, whether it's Sunny, whether it's Nasir Islam, to kind of take the lead and have the batting unit revolve around them. In all fairness, I don't completely agree with yes, we do have a younger squad, but if you look at like last weekend, these were 2 home games for us. So even for those youngsters, they have had like plenty of experience playing at veterans. So I wouldn't use that as an excuse for a loss. Also, I think personally, there are a lot of changes happening in the batting. So at some point, given that we have now played like 10 games, I know we still haven't found the perfect combinations, but it is about time where we start now finalizing. And again, in T20, things are fluid. I know things will always change depending on the situation, but at least we need to have a stability, like at least in our top order, like who should our openers be, because that I think is something that keeps changing pretty much on a weekly basis. So yes, we still have 6 more games, and as always, I'm pretty hopeful that we will not just maintain our 2, but we are not that far from Stallions. So I'm pretty confident that we'll even go up. But again, now that we have had those 10 games, it's kind of time for us to like kick up and start performing consistently, because we have had enough games to get that experience. Or now it's obviously the wins are important, but like you said, even run rate is very important. If you look at our division, we are probably, even though we are second worst in terms of net run rate. So that would have been a game where we could have kind of used it to our advantage and build up that run rate. So that's why like it's important for us to start thinking about all of these going forward.
This weekend, we have the first game against Atlanta Fire. For this Atlanta Fire game, there are a few players that are now gone away for the USA Cricket Camp as well. Aaron Jones won't be there. Stephen Taylor won't be there. But they still have a good group. They're also sitting in that second position for the Southern Division. So what are you guys, predicting in terms of this game? So Bipul, if you want to start off.
Yeah, I think the Atlanta Fire game is going to be crucial for us as terms of going forward, because it's, I think, one of the strongest team. So I think we need to play smart against them. We can't just keep thinking and going in just for a win. I think we have to play smart and the result will follow. I think their key players are not there. I think still they're a good team. So I think we have to just think about our positives rather than thinking about our negatives. Mm-hmm. Because the 2020 short game, you never know who come good on which day. We can't even just think about that their main players are not there.
Yeah.
It's still a good team. So I think for us, first 6 overs are crucial for terms of if we don't lose much wickets and we just play the power play well. And I think then we just need to think about 160, 170, this type of total on these wickets.
Yeah.
And we will be good.
Yeah, so the field, just some stats, they've been pretty high scoring games. The average is above 160. A lot of the games, especially Atlanta Fire, they've been scoring 180. Most of the games that they've played have been against a lot of the Florida teams, which have been literally at the bottom of the table. So it's really hard to tell, in terms of how consistent the bowling attack was that they were playing against.
I think we have to don't go with the flow. We just need to assess the wickets and assess how much is scoring. But the mistakes I think we are doing, we're not assessing the wicket. We're just going for 200 every game. And we end up of 120, 130. I think once we go in, the batsman has to send the message that this wicket is, I think we can go little ball over by overs. And we have to just look at last 4 overs. If we have wickets in hand, we can go for like 8-9 run, but we can't just go every over. So that's the mistake I think we are doing. I think we need to sit together and talk on these things.
Yeah.
So I think the second thing is most important in T20 is the bowling. I think who the team bowls well, I think they win the tournament or they go up, because you need bowlers to defend the score. Because if the other team score 200, if you don't have a bowling, if you score 200, then they can chase. So I think we have to do our bowling part much more better. Try to restrict the teams lowest as we can. As you know, our batting is collapsing. So I think it's the more on the bowling side. So those things, if we do well, I think we can go to the playoffs easily.
Yeah, definitely. And Anand, before you add, I just want to add, so Ricardo Powell is the one who's their highest run scorer, right? And he's coming at like number 4 or 5. So I feel they have also had that, where they've been losing wickets in the power play, but it's always just been 1 or 2 players that really got them to that good total. So that's also, something to keep in mind. But Anand, if you want to add.
Yeah, no, but like, yeah, as you said, this definitely for us is like the game of the week, because it's number two in our division versus number two in theirs.
Yep.
Even though some of their players will be on national duty, I was actually going to point out about Ricardo Powell because he's coming up fresh. Even like he scored like I believe 30 ball 60 last week. So he definitely is someone who is in good form. In addition, they even have someone like Sagar Patel. So they're still not that weakened in batting.
Yeah.
The good thing for us is, yes, it is going to be on a matting wicket. So yes, a lot of our players are kind of used to playing in that situation or on that wicket. But then, like Bipul Bhai said, it's again not just about the batting unit clicking, but also how to smartly play out the bowlers. Because if you look at, for example, their bowling unit, like Dry is the leading wicket taker, joint leading wicket taker with Ladda.
Yep.
And then I think even Akhilesh, if I remember, is like in the top 5 or top 6. So they do have a decent bowling lineup. So it's even more important for our batsmen to make sure they're not playing like rash shots and throwing their wickets away.
Exactly.
They are going to be facing some good bowling.
Yeah. And even when it comes to like dry spell, like majority of the wickets have been caught. They've been players, playing that rash shot. Then on Sunday morning, we play the Eagles again. So we've already lost against them, won against them. Might be a competitive game. Obviously, it's not something, yes, Eagles are kind of at the bottom of the table, but obviously we've lost against them already. So Anand, if you want to add.
Yeah, so I mean, in this one, like you said, since it's 1-1, it's basically going to be like a decider to see who wins that battle between Hawks versus Eagles. But yeah, I mean, the good thing about this game actually is since we are playing Atlanta Fire first, we are kind of going to be playing a more, I mean, in T20, it could be anyone's game on any day. But since we are playing a good, tough game, it kind of will get everything up and running. That way we will be like all pumped up going into the second game. But like, yeah, you're right. It definitely, it's not a game that we should take lightly. But this is one game, if I was in DC Hawks camp, this is one game where I would kind of, like I mentioned earlier, start thinking about the playoff situations and the scenarios. And again, we don't want to take it lightly and we don't want to experiment. But this is a game that we don't want to lose also. So this is kind of a game that we want to make sure takes it. If we are second, then take it up further up, whether it's run rate, whether it's the standings.
And then right after, we're facing the Atlanta Brumbies at 2. So it's going to be a lot of that back-to-back games. And for this squad, I mean, Atlanta Brumbies have been kind of doing, they're like in that middle range when it comes to their division. They have a lot of local players. Evroy for them has been keys in terms of, wicket taking. But yeah, they have some good players as well, a lot of the local talent. So Anand, if you want to add in for this game.
Yeah, so see, like when I was looking at the stats for Paramveers, I mean, personally, knowing how Paramveers usually do, I'm personally a bit disappointed that they aren't doing that well. I would say that they are kind of lucky to be on the other side of the division because, like you said, our division is more competitive. If you look at, for example, number 6 in our division or number 5 in our division, they still have like a 50% winning rate. Versus Paramveers are sitting in number 3 in theirs. And also, I mean, this is another game where, with no offense, but this is another game where we need to kind of stamp our authority because Paramveers, the 2 games that they have played against teams in our division, they basically have lost both. And so this is one game where we don't want to kind of let things slide down. One thing that I would like to also add is, like you said, we haven't played against a lot of these players, but definitely keep an eye on Zain. Again, it's not that popular name, at least in the DMV area. I'm not sure a lot of players might have heard of him or playing against him. But he's not just one of the highest scorers, but when I was looking at his stats, I think he has like a 100 and 150. And that 50 also was like a 98 not out. So when he gets going, it's not just like a decent score, it's like a big score. So
he had scored 111, and even I think he had scored even above like in that 80, 90 range in one game. He's had a few good scores in the past, literally just the past, I believe, past weekend and the weekend before. So they've been recent, scores. So definitely a name to watch out for. And then Bipul try to get them ready and pumped and make sure, they're ready for the game, especially when they're playing a back-to-back game.
So as a professional, we need to understand, we need to get ourselves hydrated. We need to eat well. We need to sleep well. We can't be late. So we can't sleep so late at night before the game, especially, if you have a two back games. It's not like you just go to the ground and you get to know that we are playing two games.
Yeah.
You know that before 1 week. So you need to drink a lot of water. So these type of thing. And about fielding, it's like individual, how you behave in the field. Either you try to just get over these 20 overs, you try to stay on the positions where ball don't so come often. So some players, they want to stay there the balls come quite often. If you think those type of thing, I think you will enjoy the game and you will perform well. So at this point, I think it's individual has to think about their own game. Stay at the hotel and think where they're going wrong.
Yeah, I think that's really a good point because it is. I mean, right? Because of this minor league, obviously the competition's only going to grow in terms of, players. So I think it's just something that personally, whatever mistakes you're making, to really work on it. But I want to now ask, right? So 3 games, what are your predictions in terms of, the Hawks doing? Personally, I don't know why. I just have a really good feeling that our batting is just going to be really well. It's going to click. But what are some of your predictions? Anand, if you want to start off.
Yes, I mean, as always, I'm pretty hopeful. I am pretty confident it will be a 3-0. And again, it's not just about staying at number 2. If we end up 3-0, then we will probably top the division, and at a crucial time, because we are now getting into that ending phase of the tournament where it's important to keep that. So yeah, I'm pretty confident it will be, as long as we do our basics, as long as we have a plan and we stick to it. For the most part, I'm pretty confident that it will be a 3-0.
Okay, and Bipul?
Yeah, I think I have the same feeling that we're gonna be good at that weekend. I think players are realizing now, so I think they start thinking about the game more now. I think I have a good feeling too that we're gonna do well this weekend and we'll be coming back with a happy faces and everybody will be like proud of us in WCL.
Yeah,
and I just want to say, and everybody who's listening, just back DC Hawks as much as you can. So I think those type of things sometimes motivate the players.
Yeah.
I think I am positive about this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll go, with smiles on our faces and come back for sure. But, go Hawks. It's going to be a great weekend. 3 games in Atlanta. So it's going to be nice for everyone to, have our last away game traveling. And then come back and have some games, in that New Jersey, New York area. So it'll be a good weekend. I want to thank you both for sharing your opinions and joining me this morning.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Roshni.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.